You have to
Oh, sick.
survive,
That's
you
cool.
say?
That's just, yeah. You have to like fight off predators, lions and all that kind. And then you eventually...
Evolve to a human.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Are we live?
Are we live?
We are live.
Are we live on Facebook?
Live on Facebook, Rooney.
Oh, that's cool, cool. I just want to post it on my Facebook. But I'm waiting for it to... Oh, there we go.
Sickaroonie.
Technology, welcome.
Sickaroonie, welcome back, sir. Where were you?
I was on
On the young sabbatical.
oh yeah, pilgrimage.
Pilgrimage to the dark side.
We weren't even supposed to have a show today. But
No, we weren't.
yesterday was so intense
Yep.
that we thought, let's just...
Do
No guest. We
something.
don't need a guest. Let's just get in the studio and talk about some stuff and see how we can help in our small little way. And a little post we made went quite viral. And naturally, with a viral post, you get a lot of hatred as well and disagreements.
Negativity.
But we're not saying what we're going to say right now is right or wrong. And we get why everybody's saying what we are going to say is a bit wrong, because you're sort of fighting the symptoms and not the cause. But until the cause is fixed, we're going to need preventative action.
Yep, so, I mean, yeah, from my point of view, we're not trying to say or condone any sort of behavior by men such as ones that have been coming up in the news lately. And, but at the same time, it's like, what do you do in the meantime? You know, people are saying, let's change society. You got to call each other out and all of that, but what do you do in the meantime? That's my question.
Yeah, and I think people also need to understand, we're not coming out and saying we found the solution. This is not us saying this is the solution. It's an option, and it's what we know, and we're just trying to do our part in helping. That's all.
Yeah, I think we need to do something instantly. A lot of people are saying, because the post we made is saying we'd love to empower females to arm themselves with a firearm or a less deadly weapon, but I say a firearm is the best. And a lot of people are saying that we should rather focus on the men calling the men out, or getting the death penalty back. But the death penalty is all good and well for extermination of criminals, but in order for somebody to get the death penalty, they have to rape somebody or murder somebody first. There's always going to be one victim or more before somebody gets caught. And a lot of people don't care. They don't care. The mind of a murderer or the mind of a rapist is not something that a normal person can really get into, because they don't care about consequence or whatever the thing is.
Yeah, so I actually found there's actually an interesting article on, I think it's on the business. Let's just see. I'll go there now quickly. 1 second. I need to get into Google here.
Like 5 minutes ago, Bern said, I don't think we're going to need Google for the show.
Yeah, I know.
First thing he does is go to Google.
No. So, but basically, Business Tech have like an interesting article on South Africans are calling for the death penalty, and here's what the government has to say. And the one thing that stood out to me was quite hectic. I never ever thought of it this way. And this person, so Pierre de Vos, who is a constitutional law expert, says that to endorse the death penalty is to endorse state violence and the brutality that it necessarily forms part of premeditating killing. So the death penalty thus brutalizes the whole society and implicates us all in the kind of violence that we wish perpetrators to be punished for. And that's actually, if you think about it, that's actually pretty deep. Like, I never thought of it that way. You know what I mean? You kind of go like, murderers deserve the death penalty or whatever, but in you voting for it, you know what I mean? It's a strange way to think about it. I don't know if I necessarily 100% agree with the statement, but this is somebody that understands constitutional law. I don't, but I get what he's saying about like society then becoming sort of the means of taking another human life. You know what I mean? Whether or not it is justified or not. We won't even go into the fact of wrongful convictions because we know that happens too.
Yeah, there have been people on death row that later got proved
innocent.
Yeah. But yeah, I think the main reason that people want the death penalty is to a lot of times you see criminals coming back out of jail and never being reformed and doing the same thing. But like we say, there has to be victims before anything is sentenced or anybody is sentenced. And what we want is for victims to at least have a fighting chance with a little bit of training and a little bit of knowledge. And I'm gonna say, like a lot of people have also told me when I brought up the firearm thing, is like, look at America and look at the gun violence, and do you want like South Africa to be like that? But the post we made yesterday was about protecting the females of this country. But like, how many violent shooters are in America, school shooters or whatever, are female? You know what I mean? Females are a lot more responsible, a lot more conscious than
I mean,
we are.
that's why they get better insurance rates.
Yep.
You know,
so like, it's never gonna be like America. Guns, a firearm is a difficult thing to get in South Africa. And females are getting firearms because they want to protect themselves. They don't have any crazy agendas, you can't just walk into a shop and buy a gun like in America.
No, cheapest. Tell me about it. I mean, I know how long you waited.
Mm-hmm.
I've been waiting, like 2 months just since I did my competency to get the forms handed in and everything. So it's not something that just suddenly happens. And I know that was the concern of a lot of the guys, like the guys of Gun Owners SA. So they were saying, like, there's no shortcuts or whatever. And we're not saying that there are shortcuts at all.
But from the process now, we know exactly what to do,
what
not to do,
are.
and we not just do it smoothly and we know who to speak to and and how to keep track of your stuff, which will help.
Which is
people.
the main thing.
And if you don't just do it,
track.
you need to just do it now. It is a long process, but if you never start, it's going to just be longer and longer.
So just to preface it can most probably take up to about a year in total. In theory, it's meant to be 4 months and 4 months, but the reality is, they count those days. They count it in days, and it's working days. And government officials only work 5 days a week. So you take all of those.
I'm gonna say 4.5.
Yeah. So,
Kat is saying here that, and I've seen a lot of these comments. She says she doesn't want to walk around with a firearm. They can just take it from her and kill her with it.
Well, that's
may need to change.
I
don't need a gun.
If you go to a firearm dealer or shooting range and you watch the training on drawing a firearm,
sure.
You'll instantly see how your perception of that will turn around, because with a little bit of training, you can draw a firearm in the blink of an eye. Yes. And it's just a matter of checking up on some training and stuff. And I didn't know myself.
Exactly.
When I first saw the first guy do it, I was like,
this guy's a beast.
Rooney.
Yeah, exactly. So, and I mean, we'll post a couple of links to some really good sort of training guys, or should I say, when I say training guys, like videos you can watch to kind of educate yourself on the idea. So before we got into this, we probably spent almost a year talking about it and looking into it and looking into the process and looking at. But then that was a big concern for me, is like, I don't want to ever have a target on my back, but like South African law requires for you to carry concealed, whereas in America they have what is called open carry permits, and you need a special permit to carry concealed.
Yeah.
So where we have to carry concealed, the idea is that nobody's meant to know that you have a firearm. And with the correct training, you can get to the point where you can carry without anybody even knowing that you have.
No one's gonna, and the holsters are for male is like
Design.
in the waistband, so you'll never see. And there are so many cool guns and holsters that fit in a female's bag now.
Yeah.
That can just be drawn in a split second. But with some training, you'll quickly see how easy it is to get there's only 2.6 million registered firearm license owners in South Africa. So
that's quite small.
It's very small. So it's
and
not
that's
on a lot of people's minds.
And that's taking into account that one person might have multiple firearms.
Yeah, and how many people? I'm going to say more than half of those people, if that, purchase their firearm, have their license, and put in a safe and don't use it again, just for home protection.
Yes,
you know
exactly.
What I mean? Not a lot of people. So
exactly.
Walking around with a firearm is not on a criminal's mind. For a victim to have a firearm, it's not on their minds.
And
just because it's not that common.
And I will say that, like I said, that was a fear of mine. But look at how open carry. So law enforcement officers have become more targets because they are open carriers.
Yep.
Look at that officer that got her firearm taken from her Intel a couple of weeks ago, like in an instant. It was like in a blink of an eye. And that's the sad thing with open carry. But when it comes to things like females and, or not just females, males as well, with subcompact weapons, like some of them can fit in the palm of your hand.
Yeah.
Like you won't even, if I hold my hands together like that, you won't even know I've got one in my hands. And so something like that is easy to conceal. It's lightweight. It's not going to print on your clothing. It's not going to be something that's going to stick out. It's not going to be something that anybody's going to see. But obviously with that comes a whole lot of law of when you can and when you can't use it. And when I say use, the term use refers to cleaning, pointing, handling, not just firing. Okay, so you can't just pull your firearm out anywhere, anytime.
And what are some of the alternatives they can look at? Because there are some comments here where they're saying not everyone can afford a gun.
Sure.
And go through the process of acquiring a weapon. So they just want to know.
Can I show my other toy that's not a firearm?
Yeah.
Okay, while you get that, I'll talk about some other options as well.
Well, go for it first. It's by your feet.
Okay, well then you go. Then you go.
Yeah, look, there are other options. There are other options, and this is the one I have given to my fiance, because I travel a lot. She's not really into firearms, and she doesn't like it. But there are smaller versions of this thing. It's called a Tipman X, which shoots these gigantic pellets.
So, layman's terms.
Jesus, look like a Tomb Raider.
So this pellet, I try to find the most. The most deadly pellets. There's nothing in it.
There's nothing in it.
So it uses a gas canister. So one canister, once you pull the trigger, the canister releases the gas, and you can shoot maybe a magazine before that gas is out. So the standard balls you get are these, and these are filled with pepper spray.
Yeah. Capsicum.
Filled with pepper. So as soon as it hits you, it explodes, and it's sort of like a pepper spray shot, but it's a powerful shot.
Yeah, so it's an impact, it's got distance. So
I wanted the closest thing to lethal as I could get without going the firearm route when I got this. And what the military in America use for these guns when they're going the non-firearm route are these balls which are ceramic.
Yes.
And these ceramic balls can be lethal if shot properly, but it will definitely stop a man in his tracks.
Yeah.
So I imported these. It was cheap, like $200 for like 50 of them or something. But what I do in my magazine is you can see there, a couple of pepper and couple of ceramics like mixed. And that is an option. That's a smaller version than this. You get shoots the same stuff, but that is definitely an option. This is probably the closest thing you'll get to a firearm, and the closest thing you'll get to stopping somebody in their tracks.
So what I was going to talk about.
This is 3,000 rand, by the way. So
Yeah.
it's a lot cheaper than a firearm
Yeah.
as well.
Well, I mean, that being said, you can get a second-hand firearm for like 2,000
And you
rand.
can get
Yeah.
the smaller one because this is going to be hard to conceal.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely,
exactly.
It's like when you want to go
So,
out,
so some of the other non-lethal stuff that people are talking about are things like the gas gun, and they're now selling things where like fire blanks. It makes people think that you have a firearm.
I've seen people walk through
I
gas
know
guns. I've seen people
exactly.
walk through tasers.
I've-
That's why.
I mean, you tased yourself for fun, didn't
Exactly.
you?
Yes, I did. And
Like-
it's a little sore, but it's not. It's
like-
not gonna. It won't stop me in my tracks if I am on a mission to
Yeah,
walk forward.
And my issue with the taser is the fact that unless it's the one that ejects,
Yes.
right, you have to be within arm's reach of the person. And I was going to bring up martial arts, right, because that is probably
alternative.
that is a massive thing, right? But again, the issue with martial arts is that generally you need to be within either
arm's reach.
striking or grabbing distance, and that's the place where you don't want to be when you're being attacked. I mean, the best form of defense is not being there, right? So
Yep.
that's like lesson one in any martial arts will be like, and this is the same thing with the firearm. This is what people must realize. It's the same thing with the firearm. Not being in the fight is better than being in the fight. So avoiding the fight is always better than getting into the fight, right? But when it comes to martial arts, depending on what you're doing, there's a lot of people out there that give a lot of like misinformation, right? But the problem is it's a case of you. The where the limitation comes in is things like multiple attackers, right? So there's stuff like Krav Maga, which is really good for preparing you for multiple attackers. Jiu-jitsu is another thing that's really good for for protecting yourself if you're not particularly physically strong.
Is this not a crazy investment for a female to want to protect themselves?
What do you
Martial
mean?
arts, because you're gonna have to train for a year or two straight just to get enough education on martial arts to be able to physically overpower an attacker.
Yes and no. Yes and no. So if you are already sort of like a fairly sort of fit and athletic person, you'll probably learn it a lot quicker. So if you were somebody that did sports or do some kind of sports, you'll probably pick up on the stuff quicker. So something like jiu-jitsu is actually really intuitive, right? The movements or whatever, it doesn't feel difficult once you start doing it. You can master some really basic moves that will protect you, right? I mean, I was, I'm still am. Like, but when I started training, I got pulled into a few scuffles, and just by knowing how to hold somebody so that they can't use their arms, like really hold on to them so that they can't use their arms, is enough to protect yourself. Because then you're gonna then I'm gonna bite your ear off type of thing. You know what I mean? Or then you're gonna use anything else. Where Krav Maga, things like that, they go for like sort of like strikes to specific points, training. Those like so Krav Maga is Israeli Special Forces, military forces training. So it is combat fighting. You know what I mean? It's not like sport fighting like any other martial arts. It is, you're gonna learn to protect yourself with that, right? So, and I think with enough time, you'll pick it up. But you're right. The thing is, it does take time, and something that the point I was trying to make is you want to have something that keeps distance between you and the attacker.
Yeah, in my experience, gas gun. When a perp sees a gas gun, I deal with perps a lot on another level, and when they see a gas gun, when they see a taser, when they see a baton, they aren't really scared because they sort of know that they can
possibly overpower you.
Yeah,
build up a resistance
but
to
once
it.
they see a real firearm, they will run away, and they don't want to get involved with that.
Just pop a picture up. I just want to pop before we go to where you are. So, Siki's also got. I didn't bring mine.
That's bear mace.
So that is the one thing that I will say is when it comes to pepper spray, you want to have something that, and you can get pepper spray at any sort of self-defense sort of gun shop or anything, but you want to find one that is a jet, a stream, not a jet. So a jet would be, so a jet would disperse sort of a jet as in spray, where stream is like a stream. You know what I mean? So you can aim the stream. So stream works better in wind. Right, one of the main things with pepper spray is people just spray pepper spray indiscriminately and it gets blown in their faces. So they incapacitate themselves, right? So you wanna get one that specifically is a stream and not a jet. So something more tactical. You can actually ask. There's a brand, I can't think of it offhand now, but I'll look while I'm off camera and then check it out. This may very well be it. I'll check it out now. But I mean,
direct stream. This means.
Well, there we go. So direct stream.
Direct stream.
So stream is where it's at. Maybe show to them the brand.
Ballistic Be, and then it says on the thing here. Where is it now? Yeah, they'll tell you there if it's a stream or a jet, like Burns explained.
Yeah. So, and
there's a phone number also here. I'm just gonna put the phone number. In
sorry,
the comments.
just showed up again. It was on the wrong camera.
Oh.
My bad, people. Ballistic Be,
And then
direct stream. You always want to get one that's a stream. So like, and I know a lot of people, like we say, we're getting a lot of flack because we're going like you're not dealing with you're kind of dealing with what the symptom, not the cause, right? But so where my sort of interest in self-defense and tactical thinking and preparedness came from was being mugged at knife point. I was surrounded by about 4 guys. One guy had a panga. All of them had knives. And it was the worst experience of my life.
I can imagine.
Not knowing if I'm going to walk away from here or not, right? So this fear is what women are saying that they walk around with all the time. So I can't imagine how it must be to be able to, to constantly be that sort of hyper vigilant. But it was that fear that made me go, I need to do something.
You need to equip yourself.
I need to equip myself, and I need to be prepared for the next time, because like there might be a next time. You hope there's never a next time, but there might be a next time.
Rather be prepared for next time.
Exactly. Rather need it and not have it.
Hell, not need it.
But so the craziest thing is, I mean, and I made a post, and some people took it out of context. And what I was trying to say by it, when I said that, it's not men that do X, Y, and Z. It's cowards, right? And ultimately, like, we've got a crime problem in South Africa, right? So I'm not discounting gender-based violence at all, right? But we got a crime problem, and these criminals know exactly what to look for, what body language sort of displays whether you feel vulnerable, whether you are vulnerable, whether you're afraid, and those are the way that's how they pick you out, And I remember early on when I started my training, the one thing my coach said to me is, when you walk, right, you kind of, most people say if you want to look confident, you want to puff yourself up and make yourself look big, and so you seem confident when you walk. But what he was actually saying is, what you need to do is you almost need to take a half-step measure back in your pace so that you're more focused, you're more in control, right? If something happens, you're more relaxed, you can move easier. But the simple thing of instead of, and I need to take my headphones off for this. So the simple thing of like walking, looking like that versus just dropping and instead of looking up with your head, you're kind of looking down and like using your eyes to look ahead of you, gives you more peripheral vision, so you can see if somebody's coming from like behind you, so you'll notice them quicker, which is apparently a tip. So shout out to SBG Cape Town, straight blast gym, same school that Conor McGregor fights for in Ireland. But that's actually a tip that one of the founders got from a prisoner, because he was like, you always got to watch out, you always got to watch your back, because when you get to prison you don't know who's got your back and who doesn't, so you need to be able to learn to watch your back. But you got an interesting story about what happened on the train, and like how, when the train stopped.
Oh, when you were stranded.
Yes, when you were stranded on the train. So because the idea is that anybody can be a victim.
Yeah, definitely. It's not just like even men, but it's if it's you against 4 guys, I don't care how tough you are.
Yeah.
You're gonna think twice of like engaging, unless you're like a crazy person who's not afraid to die.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was in a carriage with 3 big dudes, like they looked like bouncers at the club. Like the bounce at the club, all of them looked like that.
Yeah.
And I thought while we were there, like, okay, there's like us, we make 4, and then there's like 3 guys or like 4 guys in another carriage, like making their way towards us.
Yeah.
And in my mind, I was like, we can take these guys. You know what I'm saying? Like, look at you. Look how big you are. Like, we can do this. And they were the ones who were panicking the most, and they were just like, nah, we need to get out of here, and we need to just run for it. So it's not even about that. If you don't have the training, and if you don't have
the tools,
yeah. So because you don't know what these guys have on them.
Exactly.
So yeah, we just made a run for it that day.
Yeah, well, that I've had to make a run for it many a time. Sometimes the whole live to fight another day thing, it kind of stands true. But I started becoming more aware of safety. I was a lot less concerned about it.
Are there any gyms that just do like self-defense classes? Like you don't take up like a specific discipline or anything like that.
There are.
Because what you explain now with even like how you walk and being aware of your surroundings, those kind of tips can help someone.
Totally. The problem with a lot of those type of things is you have to drill it, and it has to become second nature, and that's the difference between like doing a discipline versus just doing like a self-defense seminar. You know what I mean? And I take issue with some of the sort of self-defense, like people that do self-defense seminars. I'm not saying everybody, so please don't crucify me on that.
I don't think like one day is enough.
Exactly. That's the whole point. It's not really enough, especially to kind of work it out. Yes, you might learn a few moves that may very well get you out of the situation, but it's not going to be something that's going to really help you incapacitate someone. You know what I mean?
And I mean, the thing is also, like you said, prevention is sometimes better.
Yeah.
But like anything, any advice or like, because not everyone has the time to go and go to classes. Not everyone has the money to do it and all that. So I'm just thinking for those kind of people who can maybe just go to like somewhere where they can have 2 or 3 classes and get these tips, or go to a seminar.
I know that there are a lot of guys actually that started doing it in the townships, and I'll reach out to some people in the martial arts community and find out, the who's and the where's, and that's the difficult thing, is trying to accommodate it, because I've got some friends that are doing it out in Ocean View, right? But at the same time, those in Ocean View are running around with guns. You know what I mean? So, like, how do you defend yourself against somebody with a gun? Right? I don't,
Are you asking me that
Keaton,
question, or was it rhetorical?
Yeah, Keaton, that's a specific question for you to answer.
How would you defend yourself against somebody with a gun?
We gonna clap back. We gonna clap back.
Odds are, do I have a gun or don't I have a gun?
You don't.
Yeah,
Let's
you
give,
don't.
give both.
Comply.
Yeah, exactly. That's unless you want to die.
Comply or die.
So
I can also tell you.
yeah,
If you had a gun, odds are they don't have training, and you would have had training.
yeah,
And you would be able to draw quicker
yeah.
and fire quicker at the perp.
So you only have to watch sort of any of the videos that capture sort of armed robberies on camera, especially in South Africa, to see that these O's that run around with guns, a lot of them they don't know how to handle it. You know what I mean?
I've never seen worse shooting in my life. They just blindly hold it with one hand and look away and fire.
Yeah, they're just like, they move. Anyway, that's a whole other story. So should we tell the story of how you would actually go about getting a firearm if you were interested in getting one?
Yeah, I think that's the most important. So firstly, it's a process. It's a process. We're always available. You can ask us anything if you want. But you first need to find a gun shop that you are comfortable at, close to you, or it doesn't have to be close to you. We recommend City Guns in Cape Town.
But there are a couple of other places. If you're in the southern suburbs, there is Suburban Guns in Plumstead. If you're in the deep south, there's also Falls Bay Training Academy.
We'll put that information on
Paro.
in the description.
Paro is Taurus. It's called Taurus, yeah, but we'll get all the information. And the first thing you need to do is pay for a book. This is the first cost. That once you make this step, you're gonna.
I actually left the books in the car, but okay, I've got the rest here.
Once you make this first step, it's your first step into this, and that's the only thing you have to pay upfront for the next 3 or 4 months. So
yeah, and as far as I remember, if you're doing just a handgun, so just a pistol, it's about 1,250. Sorry, I hit the wrong button.
It is exactly 1,200.
Yeah, 1,250 for just the pistol.
Yes. And the book you can't share the book. I tried that because it was too cheap to pay the 1,200 initially, so I tried to share it with my friend. But
what
the
pistol
book
is this?
it's for a handgun.
The book.
For a handgun.
Oh, the book.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
1,250.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's for your handgun proficiency.
So how it works is, when you want to own a firearm, you have to do proficiency, right? So you need to be able to have a document from an accredited school that says that you are proficient at using said firearm. So whether it's a handgun, long rifle, it's a self-loading rifle, or a shotgun, right? You need to do proficiency on. So you can't just do one proficiency and think you can get all gun life. Like you have to do proficiency for the specific type of weapon you're having, and then once you get that, you then go and apply for competency from the SAPS.
Yeah. Well, the proficiency entails a couple of things. So they give you a book which has a serial number on it, which eventually becomes your gun serial number. So that book is straight away registered to your name. So you can't swap it out with other people or whatever. And in that book, there's an open book test, which you write before you book your own test, and it's all about the laws, what you can and
so
can't do.
you actually get two books. One is the law, and then one is the firearm. You only have to do the law once.
Yeah.
And then you have to do each firearm separately.
So it's the law, what you can and can't do, who you can and can't shoot at what time.
How
you start to realize that the law really, really, really protects a criminal more than yourself.
I don't know if it protects a criminal as much as it is, so my understanding, okay, and it made sense to me. It is people over property. So that's the actual statement. So that's why a lot of people will get upset about the law. They'll go like, "Oh, you get a gun and then you shoot somebody and you end up in jail." But it's because
there was a misconception. A lot of the misconceptions we get there.
And the reason for that is because of people over property. So basically, let's say for example, I jump over your fence signal. You see me. I'm in your yard. I'm armed, but I'm in your yard. But you in your house, locked up behind security gates. You can't just shoot me. right? Even if you see me stealing your car, you can't just shoot me. People over property.
Can I fire warning shots?
You can't fire a warning shot because your life is not in danger. So the whole thing of warning shots.
You have to wait till they come at you.
Yeah.
Before you can fire.
Yeah.
So
at them or warning shots?
So
I'd fire at them.
Yeah, I don't warning shots. Yeah, warning shots. To be honest, warning shots never came. Like people asked about warning shots in the class, but they never ever, nowhere in any of the books or anything did they ever talk about firing warning shots. The reason for that is because you don't know where that bullet's going to end.
Yeah,
you don't know where that projectile is going to land. So a lot of people go like, oh, you fired it to air. Well, then it lands in 2 kilometers and hits somebody in the head. You know what I mean? Or you fire a warning shot and your bullet penetrates the wall and hits your kid in another room. You know what I mean? So that's the problem. So it's a case of only pull your pistol when you're prepared to shoot.
Yeah.
And when you're prepared to shoot at a specific target.
In our case, what we were talking about yesterday and what we're pushing this for is for a female walking in the street. A lot of them saying, well, if we shoot a guy who's going to attack us, we're going to go to jail. But it's not. This is why you have to do an insane amount of motivations for your license. An insane amount of what's the word again? When you have to write about me.
Testimonials.
Testimonials, sorry. An insane amount of... you have to have testimonials from other people saying you are of sound mind, you can get a gun and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So if you are a woman walking to the bus stop, a man tries to do something, you shoot him, you're not going to go to jail. They're going to hear your case. They're going to see you not a person who has any record. You're going to see not a person that has any violent tendencies.
Exactly.
They're going to see you or a woman. There was a man up to you, you feared for your life. The man most probably would have had a criminal record or something. It's not like you're just going to go to jail, you know what I mean? They're going to hear your case and they're going to see you weren't walking around trying to shoot people. You were fearing for your life, and it's going to save you.
Yeah.
So you won't just go to jail. It's a very big misconception when it
So
comes to that.
so the word is when you know that attack is imminent. So going back to the example. So now I'm in your yard, right? My home is in your car. I kick down your door, right? You run into your bedroom. That's maybe got a sliding door that can get out of the house, right? Again, avoid the fight if you can, right? Don't shoot if you don't have to. They finally get to the point where you start seeing, hey, there's two dudes, and one dude's got an extension cord in his hand, and another dude, whatever, they planning on tying you up, or your kid up, or your whatever. Then you can shoot. Then you can use lethal force. So if you're protecting yourself, or if you're protecting another person. So this is the other thing, is that you could witness something. So I see Keaton come in and he has a gun to your head. I can shoot him because your life's at risk. Does that make sense?
It makes sense.
So then, you sit in, you do your open book test on the law, on stuff like that, where you can shoot, how you can clean your gun, when you can clean your gun, when you can do this, when you can do that. You do a little open book test on the workings of the gun, diagrams, the firing mechanism, the firing sequence, what happens when you actually pull a trigger to make a bullet shoot, all that jazz. And when you are ready, when you've done your open book and you think you're ready, your next step is to book a test, closed book test at the place you bought the book from. You go into a classroom with other enthusiasts, and you do basically what the closed book is. You do the same thing. Open book could be couple of other questions and whatever. Once you've passed that, you need to go into the shooting range, and it'll probably be the first time you handle a gun for most people. But from all that stuff you learned, how to hold the gun and stuff, they give you a quick little class. You know exactly what to do. So when you get there, it's quite easy, and you've got an instructor, and you've got to hit a A3 page from 10 meters away. So I'm 10 meters away.
That's nothing.
It's easy. But the instructor's with you all the time, so you got to shoot like a couple of shots in there to show that you can aim, show that your aim is okay. And if you pass your law and your physics of the proficiency of the gun and your shooting, then that's when you can apply for your, because they give you a little proficiency certificate. That's when you can take that to SAPS with your ID photos and your testimonials from family or friends.
So I can actually take over from there, because that's where I've been sitting for the last while.
Over to you then, sir.
So, yes, here's actually an actual form of what you need. So you need your proficiency certificates, as Keaton mentioned. But then you also need, so they say you need to have completed the correct forms, which they will hand to you. You need 2 copies of your IDs, 2 color passport photos, 70 Rand, and a copy of the training certificate.
70 Rand in cash.
In cash,
because they're old school.
For any training certificates that you hold, and then the 2 testimonials, basically, and proof of residence, because you have to go specifically to the police station in the district where you live. So you cannot apply for your firearm. Like I live in Fischhoek, so I can't go and apply for my firearm in Ocean View, even though I know I might get it easier there because their crime stats are maybe different. But it has to be within my district, because the district firearm officer has to come and inspect your home, make sure your safe is of standard. Because the whole point is, like, once you have a firearm, you're responsible for not only the weapon, but the ammunition.
Well, we haven't gotten there yet.
Sorry.
We haven't gotten there in the steps.
Go.
So once you've handed all that in, the form is not that difficult. It takes you 10 minutes to fill in, just all your random details, same as you do it with a bank or something. You hand it into your DFO, designated firearms officer, or official, one of the two. There's a DFO in every police station, so you just got to find them. And that's that. Make sure once you've handed it in, within the day, you get an SMS to say that they've logged your case, your competency request. If they don't send you that SMS, it means they haven't logged it yet. So I would suggest going to them and annoying them until they do it, so you know once you've got the SMS, it's in the system. But if you don't get that SMS, it's lying on somebody's desk for God knows how long.
So say that again, sorry, about because I'm going to have to do this now.
Yeah. So, for instance, when I did mine,
yes,
I handed mine in within 20 minutes. I got my SMS.
Oh, right, because they loaded it onto the system. And then that's when the days start ticking.
When a friend of ours went to go do his, we did ours together. So he did his at his police station. 1 day came, 2 days came, no SMS. 3 days, no SMS. We went back there, no SMS. He went back again to force it, and then they eventually sent the SMS. But who knows how long it would have taken if he didn't keep going back, you know what I mean? And that's where a lot of people's stuff gets lost. A lot of people saying they've been waiting for years, and ask them if you got an SMS ever, and they say no. So you just gotta keep on them. And then you wait 90 working days before you get another SMS to say your competency has been approved. And most likely it's going to be approved, because if you have your testimonials and stuff, they might contact those people, they might not, but if they do, you'll get a good reference and you've passed your test, and that's it done. So after 90 days, you're allowed to purchase a firearm and apply for your license, which is the next step. Yeah. But then, like what somebody said earlier about they can't afford a gun. A new gun is going to set you back about between 9,000 and 12,000 Rand. 9,000 for the smaller, nice, more compact ones. But you have to purchase your gun before you get the license. So that is also the worst part, because it really sucks to spend 9K and then not be able to even use your gun.
And but that is because of the whole serial number thing.
Yeah. So you have to register the gun on your name and then apply for the license. So what you do is
So give me a second. So it's not like a car license where you go do your car license and then you go get to choose what car you want to buy.
Yeah, quite the opposite.
It's quite the opposite, yeah.
So you choose your gun you're happy with after all your research.
And get a lot of research and get a lot of advice, and if possible, shoot them. Yeah. Find out where you can shoot them. And
the rangers love to assist people, and we've had so many rangers hit us up about saying they're gonna assist females to help that. So we'll collect the names of all the details and stuff, and we'll put it up there. So you guys can go shoot like Malmen as soon as this is over. But you choose your gun, you go buy it, but you don't have to pay upfront for it. The gun shops give you options of 3 months or 6 months, because it takes about 3 months to get the next license. So you can pay off the gun. You just have to put down a deposit of like 50% or something on the gun, and then you have 6 months or 3 months to pay the rest off. So it's not as intense on your pocket as it might seem, because that's a much better option. So while you're waiting for that, you can do all that shit. So once you get your SMS from the police saying your competency is done, you have to go collect your competency card at the police station, and that allows you to go back to your gun place, purchase a gun, and give them the competency card, and they set everything up for you, and you're now allowed to go fill out more forms very similar to the competency forms, and take another 70 rand with you, another 2 ID photos, almost identical process. But this time you need to give a shit load of crime stats. So there's a website called Crime Stats for Your Neighborhood to motivate why you need a self-defense firearm.
So it doesn't necessarily have to be just about like you sort of your neighborhood or whatever, because you could, for example, be a small business owner who maybe works with money, that type of thing.
Yep.
So those are the type of things you use for motivation. But there are people that you can pay to do your motivations or to help you with your motivations.
Yeah.
But back to you, sir. You were saying.
So you need to give an insane amount of crime stats, how many murders, how many robberies, how many whatever. You need to give a motivation, a full length page of why you need a gun in your own words. They want you to also collect newspaper clippings or articles of violent crimes in your area as motivation. But there's a guy, the most amazing dude. He charges 450 rand. We'll put his details in the. He just speaks to you for half an hour on the phone, and with that conversation, he'll ask you about your life and all that stuff. With that conversation, within a couple of days, he'll email you back with
everything you need,
every single thing for your neighborhood, and he knows exactly what to say to motivate perfectly. So he sent me everything in PDF format. I just printed it out. We stuck it to our license forms that we filled out, and back to the police station to hand that in. And then that's another 3 months, your final 3 months, basically. And in that time, you're allowed to go to the place where you purchased your gun, and you're allowed to go shoot it, which is a cool thing. So you can immediately start training with your own gun, because there'll be a marshal there to assist you. So you can pay the range fee and buy some bullets, and then just go and practice shooting your own guns. So you can start to get the feel of it.
Sorry, can I just interject there, because I'm just checking some of the comments here, and Melissa is saying that her fears is also that it could be turned on her, and she's open to it, but will start with a knife to add to the pepper spray. And then she asked about self-defense classes. Now, I happen to be a knife guy. I didn't bring half of them with me because, I went to the police station this morning to hand in my competency. I didn't think it would be a good idea to have 1,000 knives in my pocket. The problem with a knife is that it...
You're killing me with that screen. Why do you keep putting that screen on?
I keep hitting the wrong button,
damn
man.
it.
I was using the other thing. The thing with a knife, right, is, they can be illegal to carry. That's the main thing. So, if you've got a little folder like this, that's kind of fine. The pardon the pun, but the rule of thumb is the blade shouldn't be longer than your thumb. That's kind of where it is. Some people say longer than your hand. But that being said, you could totally use this lethally if you needed to. Again, the problem is can you draw it quick enough, right? So I'm actually a bit annoyed I didn't bring my other one. I've got another one. So this one's called a karambit. Okay, that's got a folding assisted open. So basically it'll open up at it's designed so that you can hold on to it while you fight. Again, you see blade length. You got to be super careful so that you don't get that they don't see you as a criminal. So that the court can't say you had it on you, so you intended to use it. So that's the thing that you always need to prove. But you get other versions of the karambit. I would suggest the karambit to anybody who doesn't know anything about knives. This is the one with the ring. Because you get one that you can even keep in your pocket. And I don't have my other one with me where I could demonstrate it. But basically, as soon as you pull it out of you put your finger in the ring, and as soon as you pull it out of your pocket, it deploys. So for a woman, and you don't need to. Keaton made a joke about this on his Insta. It's like the best way to stab, because I was explaining the karambit to Signal. Like the thing with a knife is again, they can disarm you if you're not prepared to use it. You have to be within range. Where with a karambit, because of the way that you hold it, is basically is different. So it's not a stabbing knife. It's a pushing away from me knife. So you know what I mean. So you kind of keeping the distance away from you, or you moving yourself in normal like body motions. So that's something to look at. But they can be pricey, and again, the legalities of carrying a knife is something else. I wouldn't ever want to have to use a knife on anyone personally. I don't know if I would even be able to. I have them on me, but I don't know if I'd be able to, unless it's life or death. You know, if my wife and kids are maybe in danger, then I might be able to make myself do it, because I don't really. You know what I mean? I can't see myself doing that to a person. But then there's also the option of punch daggers. So I don't actually have my one with me, but I generally carry that one with me all the time. Hangs around my neck, and when you pull it out, it's got a tiny blade about that long, but it comes out between your fist. So yeah, that's an option for Melissa. But yeah, I think maybe rather than going knife, I would say maybe a baton. Those extender batons that you kind of see the police are starting to use now. It's small, compact.
I have one in my car as well, but I also don't know. It depends on the size of the female and the size of the guy.
The person, exactly.
And if there's multiple, it's again gonna be tough for.
Yeah, but the thing with that thing, if you use it correctly, you can break bones.
Yeah.
So it's a case of if somebody tries to grab you and you have one of those, you hit them straight on the shin bone, and they're going down. They're not going to do anything to you. You're going to escape. And at the end of the day, it's like that's the idea. Is you just want to escape with your life. You don't necessarily want to. I don't want to kill anybody. You know what I mean? I don't want to necessarily inflict undue pain either. But if my life's in danger, then maybe so.
Or if someone's going to try and put another female's life in danger, then they deserve it.
They need to die. If you are willing, I believe, if you are willing to take a life, you deserve to die. And
that's the problem is, we also got this question, and I spoke about it yesterday also. We got this saying like, it's our jobs to rather, instead of arming females, it's our jobs to call these guys out because they are friends of ours or peers, and we see it and we ignore it. But I said it last night and I said it before, it takes a real special amount of cowardice to do something like that. And if you see one of these people in the presence of other males, they will never, ever, ever say something like that. They'll never say their intentions to other males because they are too much of a coward to express that to another male, because they know that what the repercussions will be, because not all males are like that. And we never see this kind of behavior. And I know most of the people that I know, if they see that kind of behavior, they will do something about it.
Call it out. Yeah.
But it could be our best friends, it could be our family, it could be your family, and whenever there's a murder that happens, or there's a crazy act that happens, the family members of that person always say, we never saw it coming. And it's because they are too much of a coward to show their true self to everyone. They'll wait until they are alone with somebody that cannot defend themselves. So as much as we'd love to call everybody out, we don't it's hard for us to see these things because these guys hide in plain sight.
And this is the thing. It's like we're not. I think a lot of, and this is why we did the podcast, because so much can be lost in text, is that we sincerely hear the cry and the plea of women out there. We sincerely do. We sincerely go like, we were talking about how Simon was feeling sick, that he couldn't even work. You know what I mean? It's like, I saw the thing. I've got daughters, bro. I saw the thing of that little girl that was abducted. Thank God she was found, right? But it's not like we're not sitting here going like, we just don't. Obviously, there's been instances where both Keaton and I have come short from stepping into situations and calling people out. But one of the main things about calling people out is that what does it do? Like, I don't understand what it does. Like, I don't, you know what I mean? I like, okay, so and so is a douchebag. How does that change whether a different dude is going to rape? I don't, you know what I mean? It's like, and I understand what people are saying is sort of about microaggressions and ingrained sexism and this idea that men think it's okay to treat women a certain way, but I don't really think we do. I mean, a lot of people be like, you all know somebody. It's like, I don't know. I don't.
We might know some. We may know somebody. One of our friends could be abusing their partner every night, but we will never. We'll never see it.
Exactly. All the time, like when somebody called you and said, my partner is abusing me.
Yeah.
What did you do? You drove there.
I went there. Yeah. I went. Dropped everything I had to do to go there and go help. But it's hard for us to see the stuff. The men that will or know. You can see it in the eyes. A man that will do something and a man that won't, right? And an abuser can see that as well. You know what I mean? An abuser will find people either like-minded people, or he'll hide his true identity from the people that will do something. So we would love to do we'd love to do more. Like when we see the stuff, we'd love to fucking do more. But this is all we know. We've been through the firearm process. We go shooting almost every weekend we can to practice our own stuff.
Leanne wants to go shooting with us next time.
There we go. Burns is hardcore, duck into his knives, as you can see. So the only way we know how to come at this issue is maybe trying to talk to you guys about self-protection. We're not saying we're right or wrong. We're not saying to change the world, but it might stop an attacker before. Like marches do its thing, and waiting for the death penalty does its thing, but you can't march evil out of a person. There's evil in people that can't be changed. When there's a death penalty, if you look at the craziest,
the stats say that it doesn't deter it.
Yeah. Because there's a fucking psychological problem with these people, and if you look at the craziest serial killers of all time, the ones that have been caught, they can't stop. They have an urge to do what they want to do, and they're not going to stop regardless of the consequences. Guys that get caught, see the worst of the inside of a jail, sit there for 10 years, go free for some reason,
and do it again
straight away. Like that's more
like
of a
compulsion.
That's more of a psychological thing.
So I actually didn't bring. That was the one book that I should have probably bought, was Abnormal Behavior. We could have referred to it.
Yeah, and I don't see how you can't march evil out of a person. A person knows that the rape and murder is the worst thing.
Yes.
And they already 100%. Know this. They already know this, and they're willing to do it anyway.
Do it anyway,
and it's because a lot of the times you'll know this, it's a psychological tick that they can't get rid of.
And also it's about power.
Yeah.
Yes.
100%.
It's about being able to exert dominance over another human being.
And that is also what the convict serial killers have admitted to.
Yes.
Have admitted to many times over.
And I mean, that is the only reason somebody would even consider like doing certain things to children. It's, you know what I mean? It's and I don't know, man. yes, I agree. I agree that fathers need to be addressing their sons and teaching them how to treat women, and dudes need to be calling other dudes out, right? But for example, I've got 2 girls, right? I've got a wife and 2 girls.
Who do you teach?
Exactly. And what do I teach them? The only
Yeah.
thing I can teach them is don't make yourself vulnerable, because the world is dangerous.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Not only because they're female, but because the world is dangerous. The world is dangerous to me, even. Like, I come home every evening and I'm like paranoid that something's going to happen. You know what I mean? Maybe that's left over from growing up in the hood. You know what I mean? You kind of hyper vigilant. But what do I teach them? I can't be like, oh, you know, the world should be safe for you to walk around and do whatever and go wherever. Yes, it should be. In a perfect world, that would be it, in a society where it works. But even in societies where they have stricter laws, you know, like, it still happens. You know what I mean? The only difference now, people like to say that sort of these type of crimes are increasing. I don't think they're increasing. I just think we hear about them more because of social media. 20 years ago, there was no social media. You only saw what was in the paper. 20 years before that, you only saw what was allowed to be in the paper.
Also, when one big thing happens, we on social media, you tend to develop like a mob mentality.
Yeah. You
And
either
you
for
start
or
to-
against.
Yeah, and you start to compare. Also, you'll compare, this person's death is more important than this person's death. Or why is this person's death not increase? Why is the following on this person's death not increase to that? And then people go find other articles, and this person died and shares that. This person's missing and shares that. So it becomes a big. I don't think it's
And
rising. I think
everyone's
the
missing the
awareness
point
is
at the end of
rising.
the
Yeah,
day.
just the awareness that's rising. And the same thing with killers that I notice is they develop a mob mentality where they would see something happening, and you see it a lot. Even overseas, you'll see one shooting would happen, and then a slew of smaller shootings would happen around that same time. And I'm pretty sure it's because of the mob mentality. They've seen one person do it, they get the idea, they want to do it. And then it stops for a while, and then you'll see it happen again. And now you're seeing like so many like horrible fucking, especially township communities. There's not a lot that you don't see a lot of it online.
Yeah.
But township, so many like murder / rapes just happening, and the body being dumped, and it's children, bro. It's children. It just become it's just become a thing, and I don't know why. But like I said in the beginning, we'll never get into these people's heads because we aren't as fucking sick as these people.
And I mean, we can talk around that point for forever, on the how and the why and the what's the motivation and whatever. I don't know, you know what I mean? And we can call out as many men as we want, right? And we can raise up a whole generation of people that think we see it already, man. We had this conversation on the last podcast with Simon, where we were like, these are not cool to say to people. You don't treat a woman like that. You know what I mean? So it's not like it's not being said.
It is though. Like there are still men that ignored when they see it. So I think it is an important message to tell guys to call out their brassa. Because there are guys that think maybe it's funny, or you know what I'm saying, when they see their brassa disrespecting a girl, they will find it funny or whatever. There are still those type of guys out there.
Yeah.
Are they?
No.
Yeah, I've seen them.
I think they are. I mean, you see them in the jaw all the time.
And they're fucking assholes.
Exactly. Yeah. But that's
the reality that these females live in.
Or they're just as much of a coward as the perpetrator himself.
100%. 100%.
That's also and that's why we did this podcast. There's a quote that I live my whole life by, and a lot of times it gets me into shit, but I've been living by it since I was a kid. And the quote says, in any situation, the best thing you can do is the right thing, the second best thing you can do is the wrong thing, and the worst thing you can do is nothing.
Yeah.
So whether we're doing the right or wrong thing here,
Yeah.
which was quite divided on the comments. At least we aren't doing nothing, 'cause that's the worst thing you can do.
Yeah.
And that's the same with seeing that shit and doing nothing. You know what I mean?
And you know, I said I wasn't going to talk about this on the podcast, but I think it's actually a necessary thing because it comes with a whole calling people out thing. Like, geez, with gender politics and the way things are now, you know, our perception and our definitions of male versus female, man versus woman, and so on, right? I still believe that there's that we have as men, right? In the same way that women are going like, okay, men are the ones that are raping, men are the ones that are murdering. I still believe that those same men, that category of people that they say men are raping and men are murdering, so that category have a responsibility to be the protectors of the vulnerable. Now, I'm not saying that women cannot be, or anybody else on the gender spectrum cannot be a protector of the vulnerable, right? And because I'm not saying that men can't be vulnerable either, because they can be. But I do believe that we have a responsibility to like stick up for each other. You know what I mean? I think of the days, like I grew up in Ocean View, and I'd hang out in Fishhook as a kid as soon as they opened like the beaches up to people. And I'll never forget, one of my first things that ever happened was at a games arcade in Fishhook, and somebody grabbed this lady's bag. And I was like 16 maybe, right? And it was like instinct for me to run after this guy. And me and like another dude caught up with him and got the bag back and got the dude. Like, people don't do that anymore. Like, we don't have that sense of community where I'm willing to put my life at risk for somebody else, right? Now, fair enough. Put a firearm in your hand, your life's not really that at risk anymore.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm not saying like go indiscriminately, like shoot people. I'm not saying go shoot people at all. But
the statistics prove that statistically women are not shooting up people for no apparent reason. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So, I don't know if that comparison that people are giving us is valid, especially in this country.
Yeah. And so we had a couple of people that actually said, some competitive shooters and some people from Gun Owners SA. I say check them out again on Facebook. They're actually having an open day at CPC. So the range on the old Val Drive, what's it called now? Philip Konsana. There's a range there. They got an open day this Saturday from 10 o'clock.
Southern Arms.
Yeah,
isn't it not Southern Arms Shooting Academy?
I think they might be affiliated,
ones,
yeah. So they actually said we must come through if we want to and chat to them about the podcast.
That's another thing that we can do is anyone who wants to shoot or wants to learn these things, I would love if we could somehow get these gun clubs involved and a big group of like-minded females who want to protect themselves, want to start learning guns, all go to the range which is closest to them together in a group, learn from one guy, do the courses. There's some fun, actually, there's quite fun gun courses that you do where you're running around shooting fucking targets or whatever. But another person said something yesterday about even starting a crowdfunding campaign to pay the ranges for females who want to go in groups and shoot together. It's a lot more fun as well, shooting with your friends and stuff. Burns and I can attest to that.
Indeedles. Yes, indeedles. So Stephen Manzoni, he asked to go back to the question about an attacker in your house. Let me just try.
So that question actually comes up in the test. That exact question, and the scenario they put is there's a guy.
So, but basically, he's saying is, am I allowed to draw my weapon with the intention of shooting if they do not leave, and hopefully apprehend them until the police come? So that is so that is a difficult one, right? I asked that question in the class. So so because you're not law enforcement,
I asked the same because that question pretty much hit me.
Yeah.
Quite hard when we were sitting there.
Exactly. So you don't have the authority to apprehend anyone. You pulling a gun on somebody and holding them against their will means that you're using a gun to hold somebody against their will, right? Unless they just try to attack you. You know what I mean? But I would say, when I say, so remember I said right in the beginning, safely use your gun means pulling it out, pointing it, whatever. In that situation, if I see somebody jump over my fence, right, and I suspect that they're going to break into my house, I'm going to draw my weapon. I might not point it at them, but I'm going to draw my weapon and I'm going to be ready to use it if I need to. And I think that is the best way to look at it.
Yeah, and you can state your case. You know what I mean? You can state, if you've drawn your weapon, it's scared the person off, you've done your job. That person, if that person goes, and I've seen this has happened before, where that person would go straight, if that criminal knows the law, he'll go straight to the police station and make a case against you.
And say, that guy pointed his gun at me. So that's why you also don't point unless you're going to shoot.
But that being said, if you make your case, you will be fine. You're not going to go to jail for that. You know what I mean?
Especially since you didn't discharge your firearm.
Exactly. You feared for yourself.
You feared for your life. Yeah.
You have a license. You prove that
you can use it safely.
Yes. So you feared for yourself and you pulled out the gun just in case. And that there's no
gray area there actually. So but no, you can't actually apprehend people. You know, it's not our job. That's what the police do. You know what I mean? So sadly, guy attacks you, you pull out your gun. Like he comes at you with a gun. Put it this way: he comes at you with a gun, you pull out your gun. He sees you have as a gun, and he runs off. As soon as he turns his back and he's running away, if you shoot him, you are a murderer, whether or not. But if he's facing you, pointing that gun at you, you can shoot.
Or if you're pointing the gun at him and he comes towards you,
yes,
you can shoot.
Exactly.
That's the.
And I mean, you just need to go online and check. There's so many videos where you see like home invasions thwarted by like guns, where people they see people in their house and they know what's gonna happen.
Some of the craziest stories I've heard from friends of mine and it's happened multiple times, where they wake up in the middle of the night and there's a man in their house, in their room, just like stealing their stuff. You know what I mean? Like, it happens so many times. And how many of them wish they had a firearm right there then?
Yeah, I mean, look what happened to Thingy. I almost don't want to mention his name.
Don't?
But they got tied up and...
Oh, yes. Yeah.
And had his place ransacked.
Yeah.
You know,
I know what you're talking about.
He's fortunate that he came away with his life.
Yeah.
Very fortunate. More fortunate that his girlfriend wasn't there when it happened. And full on home invasion. So that's probably my biggest fear.
Yeah,
is
it's not
home
the
invasion.
ideal situation, but it's the situation we're forced to be in now.
Yeah. So as a family man, that's probably my biggest fear is home invasion.
And also,
when I say fear, I don't like go like, oh, I feel I'm like it's gonna definitely happen, so let me prepare myself. I just wouldn't like to be in that situation, ever.
So what am I allowed to pull out a live magazine?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, fine. So this is my guns magazine, right? And these bullets are hollow points. You can see there. And what these are designed to do, instead of just penetrating a victim's body, is to expand to about 5 times the size when it hits on impact. That's why it's got curved edges. And when it expands, the force creates like a little explosion inside the body. So these bullets, you're more likely to only use it once, and it will completely either kill or completely incapacitate.
And actually, besides the stopping power, of it, right? The reason for that is for something called overpenetration.
Yeah.
So if you use a solid like a full metal jacket, basically like a solid slug, you can shoot someone the bullet can penetrate their body and go through
anything,
go anywhere and hit another person, an innocent bystander. So that's where things like hollow points come in. A lot of people think hollow points is about the damage that it does to the attacker, but it's more about the bullet stopping, which is why the FBI insists on using it, so that if they shoot, they can shoot. Don't want to say you can shoot in a crowd, because you can't shoot in a crowd.
Yeah.
But as a trained a law enforcement officer, they train to be able to know how to safely shoot in a situation where there might be somebody else in the direct line or the path of the bullet.
Exactly. So spend some money once you have your gun. Hollow points, much safer for exit wounds, and also will completely incapacitate. So one shot is, with enough training, you can hit that real quick and you sort it, basically.
Sorry, Jesse, this has been a heavy topic. That's why we did it. We're normally a lot more lighthearted, but at the same time, and this is the Unfluenced show, so we talk about things that need to be talked about.
We were going to have a gun show anyways. We were going to have a show where we walk people through how to get gun license and stuff like that.
Yeah, this was always the plan. Since the beginning, when we set out our schedule.
We actually have a test shoot where we can pull out some clips out of it.
Yeah. So we had our plans to do the gun
Pardon
cast.
the pun, a test shoot.
Yeah, and so when we saw what was happening yesterday, we were like, let's just do it now without scripting, without planning it. Let's just talk and get it done.
It's really hard to pin any sort of firearm authority people, so trainers or whatever, because they're working all the time.
We've tried to get so many firearm guys to join us.
So we have got a couple of guys that have agreed to. They've given us their details, and they said they're more than welcome to come chat to us. So they are the guys from Gun Owners South Africa.
There was a cool female sport shooter who was also keen to join us. Is she in the chat here? She said she was going to join the chat, but we were quite late. I can't remember her name. But she wanted to give her.
Stephanie?
It could have been. She wanted to give her opinion on being a. Yeah, yes. She wanted to give her opinion on being a female sport shooter and how much fun that is. She looked like she's having a joy. I want to be a sport shooter too, which is another license, but we won't get into that now.
So that is almost the main reason why I'm getting it, is to get to have a hobby.
So if you have any questions regarding if we spoke too fast or whatever, you can always, this video will be on YouTube by tonight. But also if you have any questions or something, just hit us up and we'll answer anything you want us to answer for you. I already got like 5 DMs this morning. I'm like, hey, couple me a license there, man. I'm not your guy. I said I know how to get it. It's about as far as I can go. Yeah.
So, Stephen, sorry, just to answer your question again. You said if he has no weapon or no gun and is coming after you,
someone else
coming for you after breaking in. Yes.
Oh, is another
yes,
question.
You can assume that if somebody's coming towards you, they don't have good intentions.
Your case is pretty sound. Your case is pretty solid.
If somebody's advancing on you, whether he's armed or not, or let me rephrase, whether you can see if he's armed or not.
Yeah. Because you never know.
You never know if he's armed or not. That's
or if his plan is to take it from disarm you.
Plan is to disarm you, or if his plan is just to get you because he's got 3 people in the car behind him. Then you may fire. And again, I think people think it's easy. I don't think it'll be easy to just shoot at a person. And I definitely know from martial arts that when the stress is on, it's a whole other game. Where your brain goes and whatever. So
you have to leave it up to your instincts on that one.
Yeah, and that's why you need to train.
Yeah.
Actually, one of the guys at the gun shop said to me at City Guns, he was like, "Don't spend your money on more guns. Spend your money on more training," and that actually hit me deep because,
I felt that shit.
Yeah. No, for real, because as training with martial arts, it's the same thing. You can learn the technique, but you need to drill it over and over and over. So, drawing, I think we should post at least one warrior poet link in the description so that they can see what a beast that man is.
Yeah, and how quickly you can draw on somebody.
I mean, obviously, he talks from like an American perspective, but he's an ex-Navy SEAL, you know, or no, sorry, Army Ranger. So he's an ex-Ranger. So he's someone that thinks technically, and like you can see he's been trained to use a weapon. Like you always want to get advice from somebody that has been trained to use a weapon, and he's been trained to use it in a combat situation. So he talks about stuff you wouldn't even consider. You know, the fact of like, let's say, so to the point where I've started doing this, you know, with my family, trying to be like, you know, if anything, obviously you don't want to scare off your kids, but it's like, if anything happens, we go from this room to that room and you lock the door, blah, blah, blah. Having contingency plans. And I mean, that's another thing about when it comes to sort of self-preservation, right? If I'm like, I always tell my daughter, like, cause we live like a door away from her school, and I tell her whenever she walks home from school, I'm so like aware of it that I say to her, don't walk on the edge of the pavement. Walk off the tarred bit at least, because if a car suddenly stops next to you and you're right on the edge of the pavement, they can just grab you. Where if there's more space between you and the edge of the curb, there's trees there and everything, you might be able to escape and evade. And it's the same thing when I walk around in Cape Town. Like, I remember the last time we played the rooftop, my wife walks extremely fast generally, and when she's feeling nervous, she walks even faster. And I always say to her, just slow down, because I'm not ready if I'm trying to keep up with you. I'm trying to take in everything that's around me here. So let's just take a cool, calm, collected walk. You know what I mean? But think about it. It's the same like when you're driving. You go like, if my tire bursts now, what am I going to do? Okay, I'll turn in that direction because there's no car on my left, or I'll turn in that direction because there's no car on my right. And you have to have that same sort of mindset when it comes to protecting yourself, like in general. You know, what am I going to do if something goes wrong? Because we don't live in a perfect world. You know what I'm saying?
It's unfortunate, but it's the world we live in, and we have to adapt to it.
You can't change evil. You can't change the evil way. There's always going to be evil. Always going to be evil intentions, no matter what the consequences are. You can't. So try and protect yourself.
There can be no
assume
good
the worst. Yeah.
If there's no evil, it's just the way of the world.
Yep.
And we're not defending like men need to change, and it is men at the moment that is killing women. So we're not saying that. I didn't actually like it when I saw guys like making posts saying, "It's not. Don't say it's not all men." Then I'm saying this is not the time for that. Just take it down the chin. It's all men. You are part of man and men. So just fucking take responsibility.
And you even said that to us. Like, because I was heavily offended by it, because I was like, man,
we know,
I took blows because of like that.
Yeah, and I also don't think females
mean
like all men. They know it's not all men. I mean, they don't think their father is trash or their son is trash. You know what I'm saying? But allow them to vent and just express themselves during this time. I don't think this is the time for you to be like.
And men must take responsibility, bro. You're right. Must take responsibility.
It's like, imagine during apartheid, no? When black people was oppressed and they were fighting for their freedom. Imagine a white person coming out and like, it's not all white people. No, it's the same thing.
Well, that being said, when you say that to the same people who are saying that all are, then you get all others. That's a talk for another day. So
let's take that.
Are we done here?
Take it on the chin.
Let's not waste these people's time anymore. If you guys have any questions or anything regarding firearms or knives
or pepper spray or self-defense classes,
we are gonna actively put together some firearm training classes for groups of females, and we'll get people involved and we'll get people on board, and we'll make a safe, fun space for you guys to learn some self-defense stuff. Thank you.